Good afternoon. Yeah, I managed to remember to hit the live mic button, so we got a microphone today. I was just laughing because when I made the floppy dock intro, my girlfriend hates the tune now because the amount of times I played it editing, drive her up the wall. So when I want to annoy her now, I'll just do the tune. I'll go do 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 do, and she'll just go away. She'll be home in a minute, but I've pre-warned her. Oh, I'm streaming, so don't come in. Anyway, so last stream I was in the shit basically at the end. What had happened, I think there'd been an update with WinUAE, and something had happened with the drive. The way it was communicating with Floppybridge, so none of my drives worked that I fixed, all the Amiga drives, and I thought, oh god, don't tell me everything I've fixed's gone wonky, but obviously there's nothing to go wonky because it's all mechanical. I mean, obviously if I've not lubricated something properly or not diagnosed something properly, so that can come back, but I got it. So I did have a panic, and I tested all my drives in an Amiga that night after, and I was like, thank God. So anyway, this is what I found with the Panasonic drive in the end. I could not get it reading at all. So on further inspection, I've got a real dead Panasonic drive, another one I can't get going. And the motherboard's totally water damaged. I'm gonna have to. Hello Mogo, how you doing, buddy? I'm going to have to replace absolutely everything on it to get it going. So I've sort of kept that as a parts drive. So I've got a couple of parts drives already, which is good. And luckily enough, it's a Panasonic. So I don't know if you can see this, but I found the issue. I don't know how it got there, but just under this head, if it focuses, you can see a tiny little dent just there, and I believe that to be a break in the cable. I've tested this in another Panasonic and still the head reads nothing, so I could not get it going, and so yeah, in the bin. Anyway, how you doing? So yeah, going back to what I was saying, so there's been an update. I can prove all my drives work in WinUAE now, and via the Floppybridge. I know Rob Smith's also sent out a new update, which is I've had to reconfigure a document that I've been working on for you in this stream. I'll chuck a link down below so you can get it, which is this. I'll just go to desktop view. I'll get rid of the Amiga for a sec and the work camera. And it's called disk drive config. So this is all the settings that I use for each drive in Greaseweazle and Floppybridge. So these are separate settings for every drive. So there's a Chinon, and it basically, I've said what you need. So it's a straight Amiga cable, and they're all straight Amiga cables now. There's no PC cable involved, but I left that in there because if people get mixed up, it's still showing you what's going on. So straight Amiga cable, so the one out the Amiga, the pin one's on the outer edge of the drive, and you can use Greaseweazle power. The only ones, like I say, that I found that I needed an HX power supply, so one of these. Or you can get the later Greaseweazle with the injected power, computer power supply, just a 5-volt line. You need extra power, otherwise the drives don't go. So I found it's the Citizens, so the OSDC 46AH, you need added power. And the Panasonics, the JU253043Ps, and Mitsumi D357T2, so they all need added power. And again, you know, on each Greaseweazle part, it says a rear drive jumper switch is set to 0 to Amiga mode, and the drive selects 0 in settings in Greaseweazle. That's if you're using an Amiga drive only. PC drive, you can just connect it to Greaseweazle and away you go. There's none of this setting up. So that's why I made this. If you want to start messing about, or if you've not got a real Amiga, you can diagnose a drive in. Yeah, I'll post it a moment ago. You can diagnose a drive in your WinUAE. I'll try and give you a view of that today, which is what I was trying to do the other day until everything went pear-shaped. And you can do it now. The only thing I have noticed that when you're diagnosing in WinUAE via this is when the drive's reading green, you know, each sector. Let me just switch back to the Amiga. So if I start this off, I'll just give you a quick demo. This is on a real Amiga, this capture. I'll just switch this on as well. So I go to floppy drive, I'll do a read test. So I've got two Chinons here. One's good, one's bad. This is the one we're going to diagnose. I'll just show you on a good Chinon what you're going to be seeing, even in WinUAE. But so when you get this in WinUAE, the lower head, sometimes it goes from red and it quickly switches to green for some reason, and it may well be something to do with the transfer coming via USB into the emulation, and it's emulation almost seeing the bits, and then all of a sudden it's got all the bits. So no matter what I've done, I've always got the lower head going from red to green quick, red to green, red to green. So it's not, if you've got the heads aligned and you've got all greens over here, I wouldn't worry about it in WinUAE, but on a real Amiga, you should see green straight away if the heads are aligned. So just one little pointer there. And I'm probably going to have to add that to notes. I'm just going to note that down actually. I've got a little document open. Note down WinUAE effect. Okay, that'll do. I know what I'm talking about there. I'll have a look at that after the stream. So there you go. First things first, let's just shut this down. Like I say, I'll share this document after this stream. I'll just take a note of that as well, because if I need to edit, share doc. I normally forget links and stuff. Right, so there's your good drive. So we'll just kill the Amiga. This has been an Amiga from hell today and the last couple of days. This is the one that was water damaged. The one I used last week sitting over there. But I've literally just recapped all this. It had rust all in it and absolute nightmare. So I've literally only just got this one going. Yeah, I don't know if you can see, I've got no CF card in this. All I'm using is an external disk drive just there, connected to the Amiga. So all I'm doing is I'm booting from the Amiga tools on DF1, and I'll just leave that disk in there forevermore. So that just boots and away you go. So right, let's just go. Let's test this drive. So this is the bad drive now. Now this is one drive I've tried diagnosing before, when things started going wafty and I thought it had something to do with just me. I think that when this WinUAE or Floppybridge thing went funny, I think this is when I started diagnosing this drive. It was one of the last drives I tried to diagnose, and I started getting real bad problems, and I was pulling my hair out, and I kind of gave up for a bit. That's what made me buy the Amiga again, and just thought, you know what, I need to get rid of this emulation stuff and go back to basics so I can just diagnose straight on a real Amiga, and I know where I am then. Well, there you go, that's enough. That's going to take ages trying to read. So we'll kill the Amiga, we'll get into the drive, and we'll go from there. So I'll just kill this screen. I've got another little monitor down here coming out the composite plug I'm watching down here, because the one up there is a bit too small on the stream screen. So I just grab some tools. So these Chinon ones, you normally need a tiny little flathead. We can find it. There it is. Because these Chinon ones have got a tiny. Let's just bring that down a bit more. You can just see it there. There's a tiny little bit of metal that flicks under the case either side, and you can't just pull the case up. There's also another tab there, so you've got to get these up first. And there's two little holes there, and all I do is pull that up and push it up with my finger. Can be a bit tricky, and there you go. Sometimes that tab at the back needs taking off as well. Right, so all we're going to do here is just connect it back up. I might sound better this week as well, because I've got a new microphone here. So let me know if it sounds any better. Right, okay. So all we're going to do here is just adjust this motor at the back. Can't think I showed you before, but when you first things first, like I said before, get the lower head dialed in. Don't worry about the upper head. We're going to concentrate on the lower head. For some reason, it's just the logic that I've got. And you might think, what do you mean? Why? Well, normally the lower head's a static head and it's non-adjustable. So in my mind, if you're trying to diagnose a drive and you're chasing the heads around the system, so when you're running this tool up here, let's just go to the yeah, I'll turn my screen off, you know. Yeah, I need to see what I'm doing. Yeah, if you go to these tools, I'll show you what I mean. It's a nice bit of logic, but it does make sense. So if you go to head calibration, right, now normally these should show all dots saying that it's found all the sectors on disk. All these S's should be dots on every sector, and you start off at cylinder 0, you flick to cylinder 40. See, that's found something, but the sectors are offset, and it will tell you there what it's doing. So it means the cylinders are minus, so you need to adjust the motor plus side or whatever way. And then go up to cylinder 70. Again, both sides should be reading with dots, and there's nothing there. So again, like I was saying, this getting back to my original point, because the top head is adjustable, what I would do, you can't adjust the lower head. So let's try and get this out in decent terminology. So ignore the upper head. Dial this motor in carefully until you get the lower head reading nearly every sector. Again, you're using a good known correct disc, and you can check this in Greaseweazle or on a decent working Amiga in Workbench. Just format an empty disc, make sure all sectors are good, by using this tool, and then come back to the drive that's defective and then diagnose with a decent working disc this way. Don't format a disc with one of these because you're going to get a corrupt disc and there's no way you can dial it in. So I'll show you. So what we'll do is we'll go to head calibration. Right, and we'll start off on sector 0. So all we're going to do is we're going to undo these screws on this motor. Just enough so the motor moves. Now some of these drives you'll see here, there's a tiny little bevel. Just a flat piece there, right on top of it. And as you're turning it, if you go past that flat piece, I've turned it too much there, but I'm just trying to explain something. If you go past that flat piece, come on. If you go past that flat piece too far, either way, it comes past the screw and the motor sort of falls back. You can't really see me, let's try and move that around a little bit. That's it. I'll try and stay on camera. So anyway, let's try and get this dialed in. So all I'm going to do is move this motor carefully until we got something on cylinder, on side 0. So we're looking at side 0 there, lower, and we're looking for dots to appear there. And all it's going to say is if I start getting any data, it will start looking at saying positives and negatives, which means your cylinder needs to go the other way, or you're on track, or let's just I'll do these a little bit more. Again, I was not getting a single thing with this drive, and I know the heads are clean. So it may well be a short stream. I mean, it may well be the heads that are duff. I've recapped it, as you can see there. You've got a little dot on the caps. So this drive's been recapped, and at the front, you can't really see it, but it's definitely recapped. So I'm not getting anything there, and there should be something coming up at least, you know, either way, telling me. Oh, there you go. Oh, look, it's just come in. And all this is doing, so we've got data on the lower side, so that's good news. Okay, so that's just clocked in. So what you can do is just tighten these up gently. The motor may move because of the force of tightening the screw. Okay, so just tighten it. If the dots go off, it means it's gripped the motor a little bit too tight and it's turned as you're just tightening it up. So we'll just give it a nip. We may need to adjust it again because sometimes the first lower strip's okay, but the other 40 and the 79 don't come in. So we'll just flick through them. 40's not there. 79's not there, so we might need a little tweak. Okay, and 0's back to nothing. So we may have a dodgy head. It's normally back there when you come back to the sector, so there may be something dodgy with this. Right, so what would I do next? Just try adjusting this again, because it may well be because I've nipped these screws up, it's throwing it off a little touch. You're probably wondering why this is doing this, but when you adjust that motor, all that's doing is that's gently moving this worm drive just a touch, and which is moving your head up and down very slightly, so you're just trying to find where the sector is on the drive. So I'm just turning it gently, gently, gently. I've not got anything. Give it a little bit of a chance. Nothing. I should be getting something, so something's telling me something isn't quite right. It may well be pressure from the heads. Okay, we'll go back to the middle and we'll nip it up. And just for a second, I'll just put a little bit of pressure on the head just to see what happens. Still nothing. Nothing. Okay. And what I'm going to do is step the pressure up with the spring back here. You know, the stream before, I said if you're not getting any data or anything, it may well be the head, the pressure needs setting. So just step this spring up. There's 3 steps there. Just see that. Just 3 little steps on the back, and all I'm going to do is jump the spring up to the next one, and then just readjust. So what you've been up to then, Mogo? Don't tell me diagnosing drives. Okay, let's have another go. It might be worth, when you do make an adjustment, if nothing's coming in, just hit reseat the cylinder. Because it might, there you go, look. Is it might just be that your cylinder's slightly off because you've adjusted this. So let's see what happens now. Let's reseek again. It's still on. Let's go up to another sector. Oh, okay, we've got 11 sectors. That's good. Not normally that quick, but that's a good sign. And that means that we're nearly dialed in already, so that's good. Let's go up to sector 79, or cylinder 79. Oh, it looks like we're getting somewhere. Go back to 0. Right, okay, so we've dialed that in, so we may well nip up this motor on the back. Again, what you've got to take into consideration, when you nip these up, it may throw this back off again, so you may see that go back to not finding any sectors or whatever, because again, if you nip up the screw, it's just enough to push that motor in to knock it off. So you might need to back it up a fraction to screw it up, and then it will come back in. But don't beast the screws, just nip it up just enough so that motor's not going to turn when that head seeks. So we'll go through the cylinders again. I'll just reseek. So all it's doing is it's just telling the drive, go back to track 0, which is the end part we talked about on the last stream. There's like a little track 0 sensor there. This here, and this arm coming off the head goes under there and tells it I'm here. So that's your track 0 sensor. And all that does is that will reseek back to track 0 and then go back up to whatever cylinder that you're reseeking. So we're on 0. So all it will do is it'll go up and go back, make sure it's at 0, and then just it knows it's at 0. And we'll go up to 40. Again, if I say reseek, it'll go back to 0, tell the drive I'm at 0, and then it'll go and find cylinder 40 again. And we're looking good. I mean, this looks like, yeah, even 79, look at that. Okay, this looks like this is this just needs a top head aligning now. Bit of soldering, broke traces on the back of 1200 on the Arteria. The worst bit. I'm not going to ask who you are in real life, but you might be selling Amigas on eBay, but the worst ones are these babies. I find recapping them a fucking nightmare. The two audio caps, absolute nightmare. What I do now is I'll just take this top cable clamp off by just sticking my screwdriver up either end and taking the tabs off, and it gives you just another mil or so to see the legs of the caps and to get your soldering iron in there. But honestly, it's so touch and go. I've seen people burning the backs of these and burning the backs of this, and you can always tell a good I'm not going to blow smoke up my own arse because I have burnt it in the past, but once you start getting the hang of it, you won't start catching all this. I always say I'll let you know how good you are as long as you show me your audio caps in an Amiga. I'll show you the tip I use actually for them and quite a few others. Again, I was doing this last night. The tip I use for that is this tiny tip. But they're not very good with ground planes. They need a hell of a lot more heating to get any of ground planes on. But oh, you do the you actually do the heating, do you? You actually use a heat pen. So you're using a heat pen. See, I'm not. I use soldering iron. I might get a heat pen one day and have a go like that. Get some Captain tape and that. But yeah, all this is all recapped just with a soldering iron, so I haven't done too bad. Yeah, it's alright. Right, so so what we're going to do now is dial in the top head. So I leave it on sector 0 normally, and now what I'm going to do is these two screws, all drives are basically the same. Those two top screws is all you take off, or all you loosen up. Not too much because that head will skate to the direction the platter's moving. Let's just move this around a bit more. That's it. Okay, so it's just enough just to give it a tiny little push. So all I'm doing, again, you may need to reseat once you're in, but all I'm doing is I'm going to push the head across. It will knock out the lower one because, again, like I said before, the interference between top and bottom head, the pressure, it will affect because you're knocking the top head out, and the lower head, if it hasn't got that pressure, it will knock it out slightly. So let's just move this head across. Not too much. I don't normally put any pressure from the top because you're pushing down on the disc. That's knocking the bottom out. Let's just give this a little bit more of a loosen up. Again, if you make it too loose, it will knock the it will skate back to where it wants to be. Normally all the way this side of the disc towards me. I normally find this is probably easier than doing it with an oscilloscope, just because it's quick and easy, but you normally get real good results. Let's just nip this up a bit because it's skating. Now, there is play between front and back. Again, I did say this before, but last time it's a bit of a run through. So I can pull the head forward. See where we are on that sector and give it a wiggle. Not finding anything, so I'll move the head all the way back and I'll come out forwards. Nothing. And we're knocking the lower one out now. Okay. Okay, right, I'm just going to nip it up. I'm going to go back to sector 0 so I can pull the head out a bit more without touching this side of the disc. So again, no pressure from the top, you're just pulling that head out gently. If it snatches forward or backwards, just loosen it a bit, but you're going to have to keep your fingers on it, otherwise it's going to skate. So I'm just pulling it out forward this way, just gently until I get possibly something on the upper head. Nothing. Okay. Nothing. We're just going to check on other cylinders, see what we've got. Nothing. I'm going to go to the middle of the disc to sector cylinder 40. I'm going to adjust that pressure. I'm going to take the pressure off a little bit just to see what the bottom cylinder does. Head does. Nothing. So we've turned down the pressure a bit. I think we just dialed in the motor and that was probably enough. So don't need any extra pressure. The lower one's still in, so that's a good sign. Yeah, nope, still nothing. So we may well have a shot head on the top of this. Nothing. Yeah, nothing at all. I'll put a little bit of pressure now just to see if anything does come in. It may well be the head slightly off. Nothing. Strange. That is strange. Okay. Okay, what I'm going to try and do, it may well be that this motor's dialed in, but it's just off enough for the top head not to be dialed in. Normally not the case, but sometimes it does make a difference. So what I'm going to do is readjust this. I'm going to kind of remember where this is, like the look of where this motor is. So that flat piece is almost level with the top. There, you can see it. So we kind of know where we are when the bottom head's dialed in. So I'm just going to adjust it to see if I get anything on the upper head, because that'll tell me if my adjustment on the motor's wrong or the top head shot, because we should get something. So I'm just going to adjust these, take these out, adjust the motor. Again, you've got to just slightly tweak it and then tweak the head, because you're just looking for something to happen on the head. There you go, there's the lower one gone. So all I'm going to do is move this now to see if I get anything on the top. Now the lower's out, so I'm just searching for a cylinder. So lower's still doing something, but because it's off, no, I think this head shot. It's not finding anything. It should be doing what the lower is, you know, it's coming in and out every now and then, finding a sector, but it's not doing a thing. Let's search. Nope, nothing. No, it should be getting something. Let's put this back to where it was. Just reseat so we know we're dialed in. Yeah, it's looking good. Back to normal. Okay, let's just tighten this one up. Okay, right. So the next thing I do, I'm not getting anywhere with that, is come out of this, just cancel it for a sec, give the motor a break, give the disk drive a break. And all I'm going to do is take the top head totally off and see if there's any dirt on it. I've cleaned them all, so there shouldn't be. Or any damage anywhere. Remember the alignment as well. When you take these out, I don't think I've shown you this before. But when you look at these, let's try and get the camera at a different angle. You notice one wire sits behind another. So as you take the head off, you've got to remember where that wire goes. So this one is in front of the one behind. You can just see it. So that's got to go in the same place. So this sits up the front. So all I'm doing, I'll put this back on camera view. I'm just going to flip it over gently. Mind that cable, because that cable's so delicate. Let's just flip it over. And what can we see? I think we can see a problem. Now, that looks like to me, there's a tiny dent there, like there was on that Panasonic. You just see that. Tiny dent there. And I think that's our issue. I think that is it. We got a damaged head. It may well be because when these seek so much, maybe there's some sort of pressure there. I don't know. Again, we had that on a Panasonic. I mean, yeah, it's a shame that I may well. This may well have to be a parts drive, but I think that's our answer there, right there. So make sure the disc trays are aligned too, they bend. Yeah, that's the other thing. But you know, to be honest, I'm not getting anything on that head, and usually with a bit of pressure I get something. I know what you're saying. I think that we're going to leave it there. I think this is going to have to be a parts drive now. And that is it, I suppose. I'll just show you, let's just switch these Amigas off. I'll show you the WinUAE, what I've got going on that. Related to what I've wrote in that notepad. So when you go, oh, let's just find a document. That's it, disk drive config. So this is one I'll post after this stream on this video. So all it is when you're in WinUAE, I'll just get rid of me a sec because you can see it better. When you go to your floppy drives, I've got two set up. So the PC drive, you hear that? That's the normal PC drive clicking in. That's sitting on the Greaseweazle at the moment. But the Amiga drive, it's going to moan because it's not there. It's sensing the PC drive. I'll show you how that's set up. I'm trying to make it as easy as I have, but these are the two little configs that I've made. So the Amiga drive, normally everyone uses this one. You just got the normal mode, IBM PCs drive A. This you don't. All this you don't normally touch. I don't anyway. I don't get any issues, and it's straightforward. But this, this is the one you've got to set it to. So should drive 0, and that's for your Amiga drive. If you've got a DF1 drive you're trying to configure, you may well find it's set as drive 1. Okay, I mean you can set the jumpers on the back of a drive to drive 0, but it may well be, you know, like I said, Rob's just upgraded this. This bit was never here. It was just A and B. So these are all new. So you can set a DF1 to 1 and it should just come in without changing any jumpers, but you don't take my word for it. I think that would work, but so yeah, again my UAE's fine. I've got Amiga drives working on it again, which is good. It may well have been something to do with WinUAE update and poggered it, because in between that, actually saying that, I just thought of something. Between getting this is a new laptop, because the last one that I bought, a HP EliteBook, didn't really have a much cop. I mean, it was good for OBS and that, but for rendering video it was a little bit slow, so I had to get something better. And funnily, I've just thought it may well be that actually. In between streaming that and having them problems and getting this, which would have been the HP, the last, you know, again the first stream I done, I originally used an older laptop with the Greaseweazle and the Amiga drives. The HP didn't work, but this is working, and I wonder whether it's something to do with USB ports or something along them lines, because these seem to work. Maybe it's got nothing to do with an update. I don't know. So it mind boggles. Anyway, so we'll leave it there. I'll share this config file in a minute. What else have I got noted? Yes, I think unfortunately we've got a parts drive, and we'll probably leave it there, to be honest. It's a bit of a shame, but that's the way it goes, I suppose. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Bit of a quick one that, but still, I suppose, just hit the 45-minute mark. I've actually lowered the bit rate, so we're on 2.5 megs now instead of, I think it was set as 3 or 5. Yeah, I'm using an F4. WinUAE, let's just go back to the desktop. Get rid of that. There you go, the latest. And I'm sure I was using the latest for the HP. And possibly the latest with the laptop before. And I didn't change anything with the Floppybridge software either. So I'm thinking, yeah, it may well be that laptop. It's a lovely bit of kit. It's an EliteBook, but it's a 13-inch sort of in betweens. It's got a bit of oomph. It's quite good, but I don't think, possibly not that happy all the stuff I had on the USB ports. Maybe that's all it was, or just something to do with power draw. Maybe it weren't that great with power draw going to the Greaseweazle, because you know these drives suck a little bit, and maybe that's what it was. And just that the laptop before had a bit of oomph than this one. So anyway, we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, guys, and all the best. I'll chat soon. See you later.